In this video, we're going to talk about velocity analysis. This is one of our 3 charts from the report gallery, which is also from our analysis reports tab. So the velocity analysis is actually a really great chart when you think about your team and you think about your planning. When you think about velocity, it's the speed at which you want to reach your goals. So if you think about goal setting in general, you can't hit your goal if your team is not doing well, right? So if your team is doing well, then you overall are doing well at hitting and achieving those goals. So the first thing that you'll see in our velocity analysis is this planned versus executed chart. So this shows you kind of a baseline of what the tests were planned out. So over time, it will say, okay, well, we think that 123 tests should have been completed, and then at the bottom we can see how many were actually completed. So did we hit what we expected to hit? And if not, when we zoom in, we can also see a breakdown here based on passes and failures, and out of those tests that were executed, what were the results individually. You can change the timeline using the calendar icon as discussed in previous videos. So I can change the timeline of this as well. The next chart here, you have a breakdown of requirements versus test cases. If you're using automation in qTest, you'll actually have a third line as well. So as you can see, I have a yellow line indicating requirements, a blue line indicating manual test cases, and if I was using automation, I'd have a third line underneath indicating automated test cases as well. So ideally, if this chart is doing well, then the yellow line will not go above the blue line in the end, because we see that over time, as new requirements are being added, we should also have new test cases being added as well. One thing that's talked about in agile methodology is scope creep. So sometimes we talk about this chart in terms of the scope changing. Do we have too many requirements coming in and not enough test cases? This is a great chart for seeing this as well. The last chart that you have on the velocity analysis on the right-hand side are your defects. So the defects that are being opened over time. Again, as a reminder and discussed in previous videos, if you see linked in parentheses, this is reminding you that your defects are not in qTest. They're actually being put into an ALM system. If in parentheses here you see that it says qTest, then this would refer to your defects being put into qTest. In the upper right corner, this shows me which project I'm looking at. And as discussed in previous videos, on the left-hand side is your filter option, which will allow you to look at multiple projects in qTest or change where the data is coming from. At the bottom of the velocity chart shows your team. So as discussed in the beginning of this video, who from your team is helping you achieve those goals, and is anyone from the team lagging behind or not creating as many test cases as you expected? So you can look at each person of the team, and you can look at the number of test cases created, the average number of test steps, the test runs, and then what you will also see if you scroll across is estimated times as well as estimated forecasting for defects. So anything in yellow, if it has a yellow highlight in the background, it's showing you that these are estimates or forecasting. So that is your velocity analysis report. Again, this is part of the analysis reports and insights that come automatically. You do not have to build out these reports yourself. And if you want more in-depth reporting, we'll be covering other areas of insights, including dashboards and the Explore Data area, which will allow you to create custom charts.